We're not about entertainment. We are about history. And I will get into how this broadcast is affecting culture. I've known that most big Hollywood films now, like The Last Captain America and so many others, action-adventure films, thriller films, you name it, that the directors and writers gather a lot of information directly from this show. And I've been told that by Hollywood folks as well, and I can just see it. Quotes I've made, in major films. And I know there's some other big films being produced and things where they want the rights to actually have an Alex Jones-type character, but they want to use my actual quotes. So I've been reached out to in several big films that are about to go into production where there is an Alex Jones character. But I got up this morning, and I'll cover this more in the next segment, because it ties into how successful the InfoWar is. And Chris Carter of the X-Files is in an Entertainment Weekly story. It's linked right in the middle of drudgereport.com. It's also up on Infowars.com. X-Files reveal has controversial new theories. Chris Carter on his hit Fox Return, which warns of UN takeover and links to 9/11 and other things, chemtrails, you name it. And then they just go on to say that it's based on Alex Jones. And then it goes on to say that the topics are, but also the talk show host character. And they say, well, why are you going to have a right-winger on the show? And he says, well, Alex Jones really isn't a right-winger. He's a libertarian. So I've never talked to Chris Carter. I know Dean Haglund, one of the characters in the X-Files and also the spinoff, The Lone Gunman. He's a listener, and he said that Carter was familiar and did follow the show. I was told that about 7, 8 years ago, but we never even really reached out to Carter. I'm kind of already covering this now, but I'll cover it more later. But the main reason was the CIA approached Carter and implanted with him topics they wanted covered on the show. And one of them was a group hijacking a jumbo jet by remote control to fly in the World Trade Center to blame Afghanistan and bring in martial law in America. And I know Carter was reportedly freaked out about it. But then, well, I did reach out to Carter through a publicist, but now that I think about it, but no response back. But I think if they're basing the new series, they say, on topics I cover and basically Alex Jones and somewhat Glenn Beck. Well, Glenn Beck bases himself on me, and that's well known. I've talked to former Beck insiders where when he was at CNN and Fox, they would have like 5 people listening and watching the show and then taking the material, which is fine. I just don't want to be attacked on top of it then by the guy that takes everything I do and basically twists it around a little bit. I mean, I don't care. I want to just beat the globalists. The most sincere form of flattery is imitation. And they tell the elites in Hollywood, they tell the big directors, they tell the big producers, play ball and you'll be part of the future. But then when they get deeper into it, it's so horrific, most of them run to rural areas of Europe or to New Zealand or to the Appalachians or to the Ozarks because it's so scary. And I've met with and talked to a lot of those people off record, and they tell me almost everyone they talk to in Hollywood, I've been telling this about 3 or 4 years, is awake and doesn't want to be liberal, doesn't want to be conservative, wants to be libertarian, wants to be 1776, wants private property and freedom and family back, and they're liberal, and if you want to be gay or you want to have an abortion, whatever, they're still liberal in that sense, but they know vaccines are dangerous. They've seen it for themselves. They know there's a global government. They know the CIA tries to make them write scripts a certain way. They know there's secret blacklist. They know people get intimidated, and they're tired of it, and they want to not have to be cogs in the machine. And if this last strata collapses, because the average person in Hollywood or the average person in media is not evil. They're compartmentalized, they're scared, they're trying to go along with the system with whatever cues or whatever signals they get that will make them be elevated. But as they go further down this road, they see the tyranny, they see how naked it is, they see how I and many others broke down exactly what was happening 20 years ago, and now it's all admitted, and they hear me saying what the next phase is, and they see the next phase beginning to be implemented, and they realize, oh my gosh, this guy knows what he's talking about. We better look out. We better listen to him. And they have battles with the big producers. Battles where the White House calls people up. The one story I can tell, because it wasn't off record, and it came out in the New York Times. Call up Mark Cuban. You're going to make a film with Alex Jones? You're going to put Loose Change 2 that he produced in theaters nationwide? We're going to indict you next week for insider trading. Mark's like, I didn't insider trade. They go, we don't care, you son of a bitch. This is on the phone. We're putting you in jail. Cuban comes out and says, whoa, I'm done. Guys, I'm not putting that out. I'm sitting there listening to him talking to the other people on the speakerphone. He goes, I'm out. You know, I wanted to put out avant-garde stuff and free speech, and I don't even totally agree with your guys' views, but it's a riveting film, and I know it would make a lot of money, and I was putting it on 1,000 screens, but I know it's already been downloaded 100 million times for free. I want to put this out, but I'm done. And then they didn't care. They still indicted him. He beat them when it came out in court. They sent emails, too, saying, we're going to indict you for your speech. That's how arrogant they were. They said, we're going to indict you for your speech. I had Lionel Chetwin, who was the right-wing leader of the President Bush's Film Commission, walk into a bathroom, changing room I was in, going on The Conspiracy Zone, a show that was on television, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and he walks in L.A. into the bathroom, and he says, you're Alex Jones. And it was like a gangster in a movie. While I'm at the urinal, he stands there looking at me, intimidating, looking at me. I don't care, okay, I keep going, yeah. Because I went out and debated him right after that, tore him up. I'm going to try to find that. It's somewhere online. And he goes, we're going to kill you. Did this thing on his teeth. And I said, really? And one of the aides comes walking in, wanting to get us out there. I go, you're going to kill me. Why'd you say that? Because I'm already thinking, I'm going to say he just threatened to kill me. But he thinks we're alone. He'll threaten to sue me. Instantly, boom. I go, why'd you threaten to kill me? He looks at the person. He goes, oh, I was just joking. I go on air, say he threatened to kill me. His lawyers call, send letters. I send a letter back going, I've got the witness that he said it. Go ahead and sue. The head of the President's Commission walked into a bathroom and said, we're going to kill you. And he works for the President of the United States. How's that for a real X-Files for you, boys and girls? You think it intimidates me that I'm standing at a urinal, you get in my space and start looking down at what I'm doing? You think I'm that big of a wimp? You can cut down my flesh, but you can't cut down those ideas, no matter how many lies you put out, no matter how much you weaponize the media. And to have Chris Carter come out and say, Alex Jones isn't right-wing, he's a libertarian. A lot of what he's saying's come true. I think there is a danger of a world government takeover. That's in Entertainment Weekly, folks. We're going to address this from a positive position, but also look at the other side. Go read the article. An Alex Jones character based on Alex Jones. What's that smell like? Smells like victory. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Charlie, don't surf. I love Robert Duvall. I'm digressing. It's not a power trip for me to see things like this going on because I already knew it was going on. The fact that they're saying it is a hat tip and shows that the system knows they can't cover this up anymore and they can't stop Hollywood chomping at the bit to want to come out with all this. And I know for a fact, because I was told this by members of the cast, and I'm going to get Carter on, I hope, to talk about it all. A lot of it's contractually blocked, that he didn't do a new X-Files because they wouldn't let him do these topics a decade ago. And then he did Lone Gunmen to try to do these topics and still was controlled. So the only reason he's coming back with the X-Files is because they're going to let him make what he wants now. Because that's really the big secret, is that 10 years ago, shows like Lone Gunmen were greatly based on this show. And it's not bragging when I told people years ago, oh, I've gone out hanging out with Mike Judge of King of the Hill, Beavis and Butthead, and so much more. Idiocracy, Extract, Office Space. It just shows the power of what you could have done. I was on Access TV in 95, 96, and 97. And then he came on the show and said this, and then I am the composite with two other people of Hank Hill and Gribble. And people said, you liar. And then he comes on the show and says it. I'm not lying. The point is, that's the power you have. What would have happened if you would have gotten on Access Television, if you would have spoken out? And again, that's just the power of influence. All of us have power. This is not me up here tooting my horn. Oh, look, the new X-Files is going to be based on me, you know, with 30 million viewers a night or whatever. It shows how culturally we're having victories, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, the system's going to try to co-opt it. So, yeah, it's fun to go see a documentary about Gore Vidal and William F. Buckley, and the movie ends with a clip of Alex Jones. It's fun to get up and hear the new X-Files is based in great part around what you cover and do. But really, it's not. It was 100 times more satisfying to see top generals come out and say, our government ordered us to help create ISIS. It's horrible. We should stop it. It was way more satisfying to have Cy Hirsch come on. It was way more satisfying to have Matt Drudge in studio. It was way more satisfying to have Donald Trump on or to get an interview with Louis Farrakhan. Because that's the real world, folks. We're fighting against stuff that's world-ending. This TV stuff is fantasy land. That's a reflection that we're doing a good job in the real world informing people that the fantasy land is now being influenced by what we do, and more reality is being brought to it. What a huge manifestation. That's what I was getting into earlier with Chris Carter coming out and saying the new X-Files is basically going to be based around a lot of the things I cover and the character around myself. And Glenn Beck, who's a character based around me. I'm a real person. He's a character based around me. So now there's a TV show based on it. It's very weird to have Glenn Beck try to become me, but with his own flavor, and then try to destroy me on top of it. And so they go, well, our show's based on Alex Jones, and we think he's a pretty good guy, and all of this stuff's coming true, and the pod, because, you know, it mentions the pod, and then says something bad about Bill O'Reilly. So it's a weird feeling. I get into the trailer for the new X-Files that, again, looks just like the intros to the TV show, the radio show, the promos that Darrin McBreen makes. Maybe Darrin, maybe we'll get Chris Carter on and you can make the new intro for the X-Files. Or Chikari Jackson. We don't just have talented reporters. They're just amazing artists when it comes to putting together the material. Another amazing intro that Darrin McBreen put together. And in a few minutes, I'm going to play the new X-Files trailer. They're bringing the super hit TV show. Some X-Files had 50 million viewers a night. The Super Bowl, 70 million. One of the most popular TV shows in world history. Syndicated around the world, reaching billions of people. The show made billions of dollars. The new X-Files to be based in great part around a character based on Alex Jones. And Chris Carter says a bunch of positive things about the worldview, and that he does think a world government takeover is a real threat, and that it's going to be pretty much a positive perspective a lot of time, but with one of the characters disagreeing. The fact that they're being so honest about it is a big hat tip. Normally they don't, whether they're negative or positive with one of these characters. You know, they have movies where the child molester killer's named Alex Jones, and they have other movies where they say, I hate black people and hate Jews, and say the N-word, and then they say, I learned it from Alex Jones. I mean, you know, they were like, let's not exaggerate, 10 movies or more the last few years doing that. But here is the new X-Files trailer of the hit show that's been gone for a decade, and it's coming back, roaring back, and the creator of the X-Files, Chris Carter, says that you can read it in the article out of Entertainment Weekly on an Alex Jones character. And he goes on to basically, they go on to talk about how they are concerned, quote, the UN takeover threat, however, is something Carter suggests is credible. The idea of a new world order is relevant. Carter says when we suggested the show is embracing right-wing theories, Carter counters, it's not necessarily that. I don't see Alex Jones as right-wing. I see him as libertarian. And the character's based around that, and it goes through it all. And Drudge has the headline up on drudgereport.com that they are now basically becoming Alex Jones. Let me give you the exact quote here so I don't get that wrong. Fox X-Files goes Alex Jones. But after the break, we're going to get into the really serious news, and that's what's happening with the economy, so stay with us. But here's the new X-Files trailer to premiere on Fox. The reason the establishment allows this is they can't hide it anymore. They have to have revelation of the method, and then it'll just be made entertainment. And because people are awake, they'll watch it. It'll be successful. And it shows how successful we've been, but this is now how the system counters. And I don't think Chris Carter is part of it, because I was visited by Dean Haglund. We did the interview. He said a lot. He said even more outside of the interview. Of course, he was in the X-Files and the Lone Gunman, that Carter and others were approached by the CIA and given scripts, things they wanted in the script, like the episode of the Lone Gunman 6 months before 9/11 that aired on Fox, where the criminal group in the government hijacks a jumbo jet by remote control, a passenger plane, claims it's been hijacked by Al-Qaeda, and flies it into the World Trade Center, or tries to blame it on Afghanistan, kick off a giant war, and bring tyranny to the rest of the West. Now, why was the CIA group warning? So that'd be in a script, so when it happened, people would know it was an inside job? That's one thing I was told a few years ago by a big producer, famous producer. He goes, Alex, you don't know how many good people there are in Hollywood that sneak stuff through. You were all saying that was them revelation of the method, throwing it in people's faces. No, things like that are put in there because no one at the TV level is paying attention to a conspiracy show, even if it's popular, and then it can come out, and people are leaving breadcrumbs so you know it was staged. And I said, oh, is that what you were told? He goes, no, that's my view, but that's how a lot of this is done. People leave clues when they're not able, like prisoners trying to sneak each other notes. But regardless, they're going to mix aliens into it, but they deal with chemtrails, geoengineering, world government, carbon taxes, implantable microchips. And I want to say something right now. It is alien technology. Some newspapers, left-wing groups, Soros-connected organizations came out and said Alex Jones believes in aliens and thinks aliens run the conspiracy. No. I purposely never got into aliens, once Buzz Aldrin's on talking about it, because I don't want to be put into the stuff you can't prove one way or another. I can prove the emergency centers. I can prove the checkpoints. I can prove the plan to sign us on the derivatives and bankrupt us. I can prove the open borders, and people still are in denial about that. What I said is, with these new genetically engineered chimeras that are part human, part animal, that were in MIT magazine yesterday, that they admit they've been doing for decades, they've created new creatures that are alien to this world. There's never been a splice between an insect and a human, or an insect, an arachnid and a goat, or a jellyfish and a rhesus monkey. The zoological viruses and bacteria and microplasms that mutate out of this are incredibly dangerous. There's the headline: human-animal chimeras are gestating on U.S. research farms. And they harvest the organs out of the humanoids they grow that are part animal, so they're not rejected. Now, this has been going on for 30 years, they admit, but now they're rolling it out. And I said the elite believe they're a new species of inbred psychopaths who are going to merge with machines and become a new species. Google, Ray Kurzweil, Bill Joy, all of them. Some good, some bad. That's an attempt to build a breakaway civilization, and what humans envision, they've usually done. They're making aliens. AI computers that are truly artificially intelligent and conscious will be a new species on this planet. It will be alien, not of this world. Do you understand what that means, Media Matters and Right Wing Watch in the White House? Of course you do. And you think if you go along with it all, you're going to be given the life extension technology. Talk about discrimination. Talk about jerks. I don't want to fight with black people and women. I want the life extension for everybody. The population gets too big, off-world colonies. I want the technology. I want the medicine. I want the innovations. I want them now. Humans developed it. Our ancestors built it. It doesn't belong to you. You got us fighting over the word mom and dad while you're stealing the whole future from us, you pieces of crap. Excuse me. Excuse me. I get so frustrated by the idiots out there that have been taught to fight over mindless crud. And the jihadis running around. When they're done radicalizing the Muslims and getting them to run around and burn down half of Europe, they're going to release a race-specific bioweapon to wipe out almost every Arab on Earth. And I'm not for that, by the way, even though they're trying to hype them up to be my enemy, because I see the whole game. And if you don't know about that, look at the PNAC document 2000. Dick Cheney talks about the legitimizing the use of race-specific bioweapons. The Austin American Statesman reported on it. I can see the whole plan from start to finish because it's a well-worked plan. I've been studying it. I've read their white papers. It's pretty much public. They just don't say the last 0.5%. But then they even say that. They've told us the whole battle plan. They've told their elites that it is a cosmology, and yes, for all intents and purposes, they're aliens. They didn't come from a distant star. They are a guild of twisted humans of every race, color, and creed, bound by hatred of humanity and greed and hate, wanting everything for themselves. They are the enemy. They're not fans of humanity. They don't like you doing well. They want you out of their way. They want to steal the future. They want to steal the brain trust. They want to become gods. They must be stopped. We are living in a science fiction movie, ladies and gentlemen. You're here. It's 2016. It's going on. Robots that replace humans in combat, manufacturing, everything. And the first waves are all friendly and nice to get you to buy into it. It's admitted they're doing that. Deeper into this, you will lose your humanity. And so many people are serving this because they're cowardly, they're scared, and they think if they go along with it, they're going to be okay. No, this road ends in rack and ruin.